All I can say is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they?
This is wild, even for them. Wow. So Joe Biden has made some of the biggest gaffes in the history of presidential politics over the past couple of days, ever since he's become president, really. But this one was so overt, and the media's covering up their spin of his screw-ups. It'll take your breath away. So Joe Biden, out of the blue, again said sanctions were never to deter. Sanctions are designed to deter. Everybody knows that. But Joe said the opposite.
Sir, deterrence didn't work. What makes you think Vladimir Putin will alter course based on the action you've taken today?
Let's get something straight. You remember, if you covered me from the very beginning, I did not say that, in fact, the sanctions would deter him. Sanctions never deter. You keep talking about that. Sanctions never deter. The maintenance of sanctions, the increasing the pain, and the demonstration why I asked for this NATO meeting today is to be sure that after a month we will sustain what we're doing, not just next month, the following month, but for the remainder of this entire year. That's what will stop him.
You believe the actions today will have an impact on making Russia change course in Ukraine?
That's not what I said. You're playing a game with me. I know. The answer is no.
Playing a game. He's wrong. He's angry and wrong. 1,000% wrong. And here's the proof.
Purpose of the sanctions has always been and continues to be deterrence.
The purpose of the sanctions, in the first instance, is to try to deter Russia from going to war.
The president believes that sanctions are intended to deter.
They're meant to prevent and deter a large-scale invasion.
We want them to have a deterrent effect.
The sanctions are designed in the first instance to try to deter Russia from taking further aggression,
as well as our efforts to both try to deter Russia through sanctions.
If you pull the trigger on that deterrent, well, then it doesn't exist anymore as a deterrent.
Okay, so the mainstream media, they live for moments like this, especially the White House press corps. Well, the president said this, and this is short of what the administration has said. Now, this is egregious, but even like under Trump, they'd either make it up or make a small difference a huge difference and bang the drum relentlessly. This, again, is under Trump. Take a look.
President Trump undermines his own advisor and a key ally and sides with Kim Jong-un.
And President Trump contradicting virtually every health official in his administration.
President Trump undermining his own CDC director.
President Trump contradicts his own administration's.
President Trump contradicts his staff and then himself on Russia.
President Trump contradicts his top doctor again.
President Trump contradicting his own national security advisor on North Korea.
All right, and on like that. So now they have Joe Biden clearly in contradiction with his own administration. So what do? They cover for him, they ignore it, and they spin. First up, ABC News. Now they have all their White House reporters over there following the president in his every single move. They did not mention one word about this massive discrepancy. They covered every move of Joe Biden without the obvious blunder. CBS, they tried something else. They kind of included it, but basically spun for Joe Biden. Listen.
Sanctions never deter.
The president admitted the crippling international sanctions imposed so far may be wrecking Russia's economy, but they haven't forced Putin to change course yet.
We will sustain what we're doing, not just next month, the following month, but for the remainder of this entire year. That's what will stop him.
President Biden heads closer to the invasion zone tomorrow.
Yeah, actually, massive, no mention, none. Where are the gongs? Where's the breaking news? NBC did a similar stunt.
So far, the U.S. and NATO allies have unleashed significant sanctions against Russia for the invasion. But those penalties have not deterred Putin, something the White House and Vice President Harris initially said was the goal. Today, the president bristling when asked if that strategy was not working.
I did not say that, in fact, the sanctions would deter him. Sanctions never deter. You keep talking about that. Sanctions never deter. The maintenance of sanctions, the increasing the pain, that's what will stop him.
And Kristen joining me here in Brussels right now. The president heading to Poland tomorrow.
There's President getting on a plane tomorrow. We won't talk anything about the massive discrepancy in what he was saying and what his team was saying for months. Kristen Welker and Lester Holt, have they ever covered up and spun for Democrats before? You betcha! And on the biggest stage imaginable, in 2016, Lester Holt was protecting Hillary. He was getting facts wrong, challenging President Trump on the facts when President Trump was right, and Lester was dead wrong. And of course, Kristen Welker, more recently in the 2020 debate, both from NBC News, by the way, running defense for Joe Biden, trying to get the conversation off the laptop, back onto race and climate change. Yeah, that's what these people do. It's really quite simple. They just cover for Democrats. All right. Now, I do think Joe Biden's not going to make it. He's declining. Does that mean it's going to be Kamala Harris? That does not seem like an attractive option either. Now, our friends at Grabian, it's a great website. I'll tell you about that in a second, put together this incredible montage. You know, she likes to wax poetic and get philosophical. They call this little sequence Kamala Harris, the failed philosopher. Take a look at her musings.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. We must together work together to see where we are headed, where we are going, and our vision for where we should be. Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen. To see what is possible, to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, to reject the notion that the way things have always been has to be the way things will continue to be.
I think she has the potential to be a very great kindergarten teacher, definitely. And she should definitely pursue that. We want to thank Tom Elliott at Grabian. They put this stuff together. Follow him on Twitter, Tom S. Elliott. By the way, they're always trying to cancel this guy because he's so good. All right, on to Leah Thomas, or as I call her or him, the fake woman. She's a fake woman. I don't care what the fake news says.
So what's next for her after college? What are her goals?
Well, the first thing is the NCAA championships. That comes up in a couple of weeks. Then she has her eye on the Olympics, and USA Swimming says if she qualifies under their new guidelines, they would gladly welcome her on the team.
All right. Thank you, Steph.
And just like that, Leah Thomas and so many of her trans fellow athletes, defenders, whatever, they don't seem to have respect for us. So I am not going to return any respect. This is crazy. They have not worked with us. They're jamming this down everybody's throat. And Leah Thomas is cheating. This is a compelling picture. It shows the amazing, incredible advantage Leah has over the real women. You see this? How much sooner they hit the water? She's flying, literally flying, Leah, he, whatever, confusing, right by them. That's wrong. And we're being canceled and shunned and shamed for calling out this lunacy. They're the lunatics. Sorry. Also this, remember?
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
Wow, that was quite a moment, huh? And here's a reminder that USA Today is not a real newspaper. Let's face it, nobody subscribes to it. Sometimes you got it at the Hampton Inn for free, if that. It's an incredibly bad newspaper. Take a look at this headline. Marsha Blackburn asked Katanya Brown Jackson to define woman. Science says there's no simple answer. Really? A human being capable of producing eggs and/or bearing children. I think that about sums it up. Hormonally, there are some differences that lead to emotional differences. Not always, but across broad spectrums of the population. Something along those lines, maybe. USA Today, huh? Take a look at this one, too. They made, that person, I'll say, Dr. Rachel Levine, Woman of the Year. They did it on purpose to push buttons. There's a reason why nobody cares about USA Today or any day.